Yes. Love it.
All right. So we are on. I'm assuming.
Oh.
Red dot, red dot, red dot.
Sweet.
Another red dot.
Sweet.
We're doing well.
We're red dotting.
All right. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Artist Lounge yet again. And I always say this on every episode, but it's true because everybody we have on this show is a special guest. So we have a very special guest for you. And let me get this bio up here real quick.
Yes, bio.
Because I have it, and there it is. This artist is a multi-talented performer traveling the East and West Coasts. She has toured with Freak Show LA and the Secret Circus of Los Angeles doing contortioning and human blockhead. I don't know what that is yet, but we're going to figure it out as soon as possible here. Her bread and butter jobs are working in film and performing on stage with a variety of theater and burlesque performers. And in her spare time, she's trying to train her dog to drive so she no longer will need to do so.
Absolutely.
I like that. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you a good and fellow artist, friend of mine, Miss Arianna Tysinger.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Hi, good to see
and
you.
good to have you here.
Yes, I'm excited.
You look great. I love the stripes.
Thank
we have
you.
kind of a gray. This was actually because in the closet over there.
Yeah.
I just was like, it's a little bit easier to access than the black vest.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna roll with it.
This one's fine.
So this was not coordinated.
Nice.
We did not plan
No,
this,
we
but
did not.
it's working with the gray back wall.
You look nice. Très chic.
I appreciate it. Let's get into the bio.
Okay.
Excuse me, the intro.
Yes.
Excuse me. Beginning stages.
Yes.
As I look at the wrong first bullet point here. So your beginning stages, you have an amalgam of artistic endeavors like myself.
Yeah.
Reach a wide variety of mediums.
Yes.
How did this start for you?
It started with theater. So it started with live performance.
Does
Our
not surprise
school-
me.
Right?
Does not surprise me.
So our school did this play called the Boston Tea Party in the 4th grade.
Okay.
And I auditioned and they gave me the smallest part and they made me a man. And I was just like, interesting. And I had 5 words. They're worse than Egyptian tyrants. And I still remember it because I had that memorized so hard. And then I went on stage and I said it. And I was the loudest person. I heard myself. And then in the back of the room, I heard my sister go, yeah. But that was fun. And then my mom and I went to Raleigh Little Theater because we had the buddy system at my school. And my buddy gave us tickets to go see a theater show there. That show, I don't remember the name of it, but it was interactive. And they pulled an audience member. They chose me. And they had me come on stage. And I was supposed to be on stage for about 30 seconds. I stole the show. I was on stage for 5 minutes because they kept interacting with me because I was having fun.
Right.
And then they sent me back. And I told my mom, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I think we probably have some fellow contacts at Raleigh Little Theater because I spent a long time there
Yes,
in
like
my
Kathleen.
youth. Kathleen.
Yeah, love Kathleen.
Love Kathleen. I haven't seen her in years. I got to reach out to her.
Yeah.
Your influences, as far as, so you get the bug of musical theater
Yes.
to a certain extent, live theater. Mm-hmm. Were there any influences as far as shows or specific performers that you grew up aspiring to be?
Oh, like
perhaps?
television shows?
That or live
theater shows?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and if so, if you could name a few.
I think what started that for me, I wasn't really, I loved watching fellow actors and I loved watching television shows and performers and comedians. I love comedians, like the most of all people. I love comedians. But it was just, I got into theater, and with working at the theater, I would just keep putting myself out into the works. And I loved interacting with fellow actors and learning and growing with them as people. And that's what inspired me, was the people that I worked with rather than the people that I saw.
Interesting.
Which I do wish that I had grown up and being like Meryl Streep, which I do respect Meryl Streep, of course, but I didn't see her and go, I want to be that. I saw my fellow workers, people that I was close to that I could interact with and watch them as people and as performers.
That's really interesting. And I see that correlation in your work.
Yeah.
Because when for example, I wrote down, and we'll get into your music in a second, but I put the first few words that came to mind when I was listening to some of your singles and some of the EPs and all that. I had like dark pop, trance, experimental, industrial, risk, takes you somewhere. And I'm thinking, ooh, man, she stands out. And she really... Oh my God. That's what came to mind when I was really listening, for about 15, 20 minutes when I was doing some homework and writing some bullet points.
Yeah.
I don't know who you sound like except yourself. And perhaps that's one of the greatest compliments as an artist. I know like that people come up to me. It's like, wow, you're an amalgam of all these things.
Because you have a great style. Like I love listening to your music.
I appreciate it. I do. But, that correlates.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
You are your own entity.
Thank you.
And I commend you for that.
Thank you very much.
So what came first, acting or music, in the sense of, I mean, acting as far as theater.
Yeah.
But was music there at the same time?
So actually music was first. I started doing piano at 3. Yes.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So I started, like
lessons and everything, or was it more?
So I started taking lessons at 4, but my sister was taking lessons and she didn't want to practice the work, but my mom would be listening to hear if she was playing from upstairs. So I would start playing it for her. And that's how that started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long?
So we made it a game and we played together.
How long was did you have classical training?
Yes,
too?
I was classically trained from 3 to 12, and I had my first composition published at 12. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see this on the website.
No, I don't usually post it because then I had stopped taking classes because I had graduated from the advanced class and started really devoting myself to theater because I was like,
wow,
this is what I want to do. Yeah.
Do you still play often?
I do. Yeah.
That's good.
I picked it back up in college and I'd play in high school. So after school would let out, I'd go to the choir room and play the piano. And so I did that from about freshman year to junior year by myself. And then my friend Greg Kaluza, he would come in my senior year and because he's a beatboxer. So he'd beatbox and I'd play piano. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go down this road for a second. Well, again, I've got music in a little bit, but so some of the music that's on your website, then I guess let's just go down this road while we're on it.
Totally.
I have a couple of various producers that are on your music titles, but talk me through the creative process as far as, are you starting on piano for that? Because a lot of that is industrial, experimental, very, very grid oriented as far as modern music is in general.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just classical pianist, great vocalists, and all this experimental industrial, and that's you.
Yeah.
Where does the creative process start and all that?
That one starts with my friend Dane. So I did a movie and he produced the sound for that movie. And he was like, hey, do you have any vocals? Because I just happen to have this track that I need to send to a movie. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I sent him something and he's like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh my God, I know. But I was like, oh, thank you so much. And so, so then we combined and he would send me stuff that he wants to send to movies. And then I would put vocals and lyrics over it.
Well, that was the other thing that came to mind. I was like, man, this is like placement heaven.
Kind of like cinematic in a sense.
Yeah, it just does stuff to you. It's cool.
So, yeah.
So I'm assuming he's your main producer then at this point, or you guys really work together. I mean, keep doing it because it works.
But I'm willing, like I love working with as many people as I can, and he's always great to work with. And he gets busy and I get busy, so.
Right. Yeah. Right. And we'll put, we got to have him on the show if he's local.
I think he's in an I state, a state that starts with the I, like Indiana, or Iowa.
Iowa. Oh, so this is all like flying through email.
This is all just email.
Wow. Well, if he's ever in North Carolina, we got to try and get him here.
He's a really cool guy. He's ridiculous and he's funny and
that's cool.
That's cool. Really chill.
No, I enjoy his production a lot. You guys have a good combo going there.
He makes cool stuff.
CCCC.
Oh, yeah.
UNCW. Mm-hmm. So obviously, this all continues through middle school, high school.
Yeah.
The ever long, ever burgeoning motion of creativity. You get into college. Walk me through some of the classes you took, and I know that remind me of the major again. Did you have a double major?
Yes, I double majored at UNC Wilmington in theater and psychology.
Okay.
And then at CCCC got my associates in arts.
Really interesting combination.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to me about the decision-making process of that, and if it was initial, was it? I had a feeling it was probably declared from the beginning.
It was a strange thing. So I got into CCCC 3 days before classes started because I originally was gonna skip a year to help my mom and take care of her. 'Cause she has some heart issues. She's totally fine. She's got a pacemaker now, and she just says whatever she's gonna say, and she has no filter now. So I love it. But yeah, so I went to CCCC and I was going to get it was like either communications or business, but I wasn't going to do arts. I was like, I can't make money doing theater, so I'm just going to focus on something else. Well, the first class that I took was a computer science class. And this guy that sat next to me, he's like, you have a great look. Would you like to be in one of our productions for the TV film program? And I was like, sure. Why not? I'll go and I'll just do this for fun. And then I did it. And then I just got sucked back in.
Right.
It's like, dang it.
Right.
Then I took a theater class with Ellen Bland, and she's inspirational. And I stopped doing theater because in high school, my drama teacher wouldn't cast me in anything. Absolutely not. I auditioned for all 16 of his shows, and he put me as ensemble in one.
No, this was UNCW?
This was at Colonel Gibbons High School.
Oh, okay, high school.
Yes, sorry, I jumped backwards.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But yeah, he wouldn't cast me. And so I asked him after I graduated, why not? And he said, because you were too tall. And I was like, I'm sorry?
How tall were you?
5'9". And all of the men that I acted with were either 5'9" or below, except for one guy who was 6'5" or something. But
Gotcha.
Never cast us together because, apparently that's too tall still. But then Ellen, she's, I think, 5'10", 5'11", and she was a director, and she was just there and had this power. And I told her that story, and she was like, screw it.
Yeah.
Like, if someone's going to cast you, it should be for your talent.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
So that really hit home, and I held on to that, and I still do.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't cast me and they're like, oh, well, the counterpart's too short, Apple Box or I'll kneel. It's fine. Like, I don't care.
Well, it's funny because Kelly Ryder is, 5'10"?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, and
Right?
that's a dead day with crime. We'll get, that's another bullet point here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. I have best experience and worst experience on set. So if it's a little too much to tackle right now, you can put it in the back burner and we'll move on to another bullet point.
Yeah. Well, the best experience, I was actually thinking about this, just the best one. I wasn't thinking about the worst one yet. Because I think my brain's just like, that was bad, remove it. Yeah. We don't need that experience.
Submerged in the subconscious of your mind.
Yeah. So the best experience, I've had many, like Dead de la Creme was fun. Working with Jaden was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun working with like multiple different productions. Like I worked on one film called Hunt, and we shot outside. It was freezing cold. It was terrible, but the director was so cool that it made it worth it.
Yeah, you want to like run through a wall for some of those people. They're just great leaders and
just fantastic.
Draw the best out of you.
Absolutely.
As a performer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he made it worth being in like soaking wet clothes 3 a.m. in February. Like he made it worth that outside too in Wilmington. It was freezing cold, but he was so cool. But I think the best experience that I had was on this film called Jams that was shot in Wilmington. So a couple SNL writers have parents that live in Wilmington, and they came down a couple years ago and shot something, and I worked as an extra for that just for fun because I had the day off.
Yeah.
Because, whenever I have a day off, I'm like, let me sleep. No. Forget that. I'm going to go back to work.
You and I both.
So I went and worked, and I left early because I was like, man, I got to go back to Raleigh, but thank you so much. And thought, they won't remember me. The next year, they emailed me, and they said, hey, can we offer you a role in this film? I didn't even audition. And these people remembered me just, I don't know, because of how polite I was, or maybe everyone else was just that rude that I looked like I was that nice. I don't know.
It's an odd business.
I got there and instantly, like it was a perfectly functioning film set where everyone knew what their job was. They went to do it. They'd have a little bit of fun, but knew how to get back to work instantly.
Right.
I think every 3 minutes I was asked, do you need anything? Do you want water? And I was like, I kept saying, I can get it myself. It's okay. I don't need all this attention.
Yeah.
So I think that one is the best one.
Do you have a worst that comes to mind at the moment? Without naming any names. Or,
without naming any names, I went and did this. I think it was a student film. We'll call it a student film.
That's usually how one of these will start out. Yeah.
Because most of the student films have been super. They've been really chill.
Yeah, they're fun.
Relaxed.
You know what you're getting yourself into, and
you know what it is.
You know
so
what
you
it
show
is.
up.
Yeah.
But the director wouldn't make eye contact with me. Like, he wouldn't talk to me. He talked to the person that drove me to the thing. Like, thinking, I don't know if he thought he was my manager, but the dude was just like, do you want to ask her these questions? And he told me to be at this location really early in the morning, like super early in the morning, and said that there were going to be a bunch of extras and a bunch of background. I was the only one. So it's the only film set that I left. I was like, no. Absolutely not. There's a reason why I travel with people most of the time. If I've never met a person, I'm like, no.
Right.
I need an excuse. Goodbye.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
So.
Well, you say Dead Daily Creme was a great experience. I heard fantastic story. I know that there were some interesting things that happened as far as the house.
Yeah.
And
that was living on the
power
edge.
going out, or can you walk me through that process? And it's nothing against anybody who set that up. It was just like
it was the weather. It was all about the weather.
Yeah.
So we filmed in January in the Outer Banks, and driving there. So on the drive there, the roads had iced over.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
it was a cold winter. I remember that. Yeah.
There was this long bridge that got us there, and there was ice all over it. And I was the one driving with two people that I'd only really spoken to twice in the car, just gripping the steering wheel for dear life. Like, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry if we go over.
Thank you so much for trusting me. Like, thank you so much. And whenever we got there, Jaden, the director and the writer, I believe, he was like, so, fun fact. I was like,
we got to get Jaden on here at some point.
Oh God, he's so great. If he comes, I want to be here just to say hi.
Yeah.
But him and Ruby. Anyway,
great
completely different.
people.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Yes. But yes, he's like, here's the thing. The pipes are frozen. So we don't have running water. Also, fun fact, the AC downstairs is broken, so there's no heat in the basement. So I was like, cool. But he gave all the actors and all of his crew people the rooms upstairs so that everyone could be warm. And it was really, that was really nice.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah.
We went to the store. Or someone drove to the store. Gosh, I can't even remember. But they went and got a bunch of gallons of water so we could use the toilets and wash our hands and have drinking water and stuff. But it was just... And we were supposed to shoot during the day, too. That's another thing. We were supposed to shoot during the day.
Well, it's funny because the majority of the scenes are at night.
They're all at night.
Well,
we changed
one
it.
night because of the...
Yeah.
Without spoiling if anybody hasn't seen it.
Yes. So the original game plan was to have the scene shot throughout the day, to have some things in the morning, daytime, nighttime. But instead, we shot from about 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. almost every night that we were there.
Yeah.
And I think, that was worth it for me because we got our money's worth. We got out, I think we wrapped a day sooner, which is...
Well, you guys were there for a week, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool.
Intensive and just get it in, get it done.
Oh, yeah. It was so cool.
It's funny because when I did the voiceover work on it, I was in New York. So I was flying all that back and forth, through email. And fun project.
Yeah.
Fun project.
Oh, it was so fun.
Yeah.
It was
Came
cool
out great, too. I thought, a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Between the three of you and Jaden's work on it.
Oh, yeah.
Ruby's effects.
Yeah. We all came in memorized, and it was really easy to bounce off of Kelly's acting. And Brian, that was his first project. So it was it was interesting watching someone who had never acted before act in such a large role too. Mm-hmm. So he was going through some things, but whenever he was there, like he was there, and I was like, yes, that's the reason why I like acting, is because then it just takes you away from those problems for a little bit.
That is a great segue to a bullet point I don't think I've written down, but the present.
Yeah. And
walk me through then perhaps your personal, I don't want to say routine, but everybody does have a routine, whether it's a 3-second thing or a 30-minute thing to get into the zone.
Yeah.
Just walk me through that. What are your thoughts on that as far as getting ready for set, getting ready for action?
Yeah, getting into the mindset. I like to, at least the day before or the day of, like the morning of, before we even start anything, try to figure out what the character's background is, understand why they're in that situation. And because of course, as the actor, you're supposed to act like you don't know what's going to happen next. So how do you memorize all those lines and then not think about, well, I know how it ends, so why not just spoil it and give it away?
Right.
I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, where you talk about, or you think about 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel, that whole thing. And that just kind of really brings you to the present and makes you focus on what.
That's interesting.
Like who's in front of you.
I feel like I've done that in an acting course.
Yeah.
A decade ago when I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back into that.
You should.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
That's what helps me get focused.
It's almost like a mini meditation type of, but not as. It's a little more subtle than that.
Yeah, it's not as in depth or like requires way too much thinking. It just helps you to just center yourself. And then be good. Yeah, because with film, you're not supposed to be big, which was a hard transition from stage to film. The first thing that I did, I was like so.
Well, on the close-ups, it's just like, oh my god, because I had a similar issue with that I had to tackle for years when I was younger, because I was the same way. Very musical theater, just high energy, and took some years to tame that beast.
Yes. Close-ups were such a struggle. I took a film class at UNC Wilmington, and I had this professor, Mike Holmes, who's done a bunch of TV shows.
I've heard of Mike.
He's so cool.
I feel like I've worked with Mike on something.
So fun. You probably have.
Gotta check my resume, see if his name's on it. Yeah.
He's so great. He was in Interitum. Yeah. Yes.
Which we do need to talk about, but finish your thought here. Yeah.
So he was my acting teacher, and that's how we got into connection. But we had to do this scene and this monologue. And so we did the monologue, and he paused mine afterwards, and I watched it, and I was just in total disbelief. And he said, "Arianna, what did you notice about that?" And I was like, my eyebrows are so loud. Like they have a mind of their own. And I was just like, what is that? I'd never seen myself do that before. So yeah, extreme close-ups. Whenever you said that, that's the first thing that I thought of. I was like, gosh, my eyebrows.
I've got some crazy eyebrows too. They have some minds of their own.
Right?
So I can relate. Interitum.
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Interitum, yeah.
Interitum.
You got it completely correct.
Latin for afterlife. I thought that was a brilliantly well done, what was that, 30-minute?
It's about 20, 30 minutes.
20, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Short in this day and age is like a 3-minute movie. So it's because it's like YouTube. Oh, we'll just throw it on YouTube and we'll call it short. It's like 3 minutes. It's like, oh, you could chop it up and put it on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. It's a classical. Short.
Remind me, because I only had a chance to see it once, and that was at the Coupling with the Dead De La Creme premiere.
Yes.
Remind me of the plot, because I tried to find it on the internet, and I unfortunately couldn't. But walk us through the plot of that, because it'll remind me of some things.
Absolutely. So I can send you the link for that too, because it just released to the public like a week or two ago.
Oh, congrats! We'll put that in the description box.
Yes.
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
So Interitum is an idea that I had whenever I was younger, because my father was a minister, and he would go perform final rites sometimes, and sometimes he couldn't drop me off with a babysitter, so I would go with him. And there was one time that someone died in the room, and like you could feel the energy of the person, and it was really peaceful. Like no one was really sad at first. It was just super quiet and super still. And I became truly obsessed with what happens after you die, just because of that moment where it was really strange. So Interitum is about what happens after you die.
Yeah.
So I played death, and it showed 3 different scenarios of people dying, where there was a Christian girl who committed suicide. There was a man who died in a car accident.
In the car accident,
who was
that's right.
atheistic. I believe he was atheistic. Yeah. And
Can't even remember the things you write. I'm the same way.
He's either agnostic or atheist.
Yeah.
I think it was agnostic because he believes in nothingness.
That's right. I do remember that. Is that when you guys are sitting next to the tree? You come by and
Yes.
I
So
love that scene.
Was great.
I love that scene.
Because of the hurricane that had just come through, I think it was Florence. A tree was knocked over, and it was about 15 feet off the ground. So we had to climb a ladder up to the tree, and we sat on that tree with we had a harness, someone had a harness. We had people behind us holding us up just because, and I'm terrified of heights. I was just up there the whole time.
But isn't it amazing though, when you are doing what you love, how the fear just kind of dissipates?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Mike and I were just up there joking the whole time, I kept making the weirdest jokes. I don't remember any of them, but
you'll do anything for the art. It's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. But not to get off topic, but so then there's that, and then the third.
The third, she's a little girl who's dying of a terminal illness.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to see that again, because it's been about 2 years, and I only saw it that one evening, and it was
absolutely.
Cool.
But it was great. I was talking about that with someone, and I was like, so it's about death, and I was talking about how the girl dies, and she's like, you spoiled it. And I was like, yeah, because it's about what happens after.
It's about death. Yeah.
She was so mad.
It's very profound.
Thank you.
So, can we talk about the writing process real quick?
Yeah.
You wrote the script for that.
Yes. So I had the idea and I wrote out the basic concepts, but because I am dyslexic, writing a script is really hard for me, let alone reading them. So I had my fiance at the time. I just told him everything that I wanted to have written, and he wrote it out within a couple of days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it really just working together, reciting?
Yeah, so I told him just the basic ideas of I wanted this point to get to this point, this point, this point, this point, this point. And he's a fantastic writer. I have to give him credit for that. Very, very good with words, and made a very nice conversational pieces between both of the characters.
Yeah. It was very well written.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it again.
Yes.
Vocal experience real quick while we're here. Let's talk about it as far as how did that come about, and any specific influences musically
for vocal experience.
For vocals.
Oh, so I did.
You have a great voice.
Choir for 4 years, but that
does not surprise me.
That was the only vocal training I really ever had, was just choir from 4th to 8th grade.
Wow.
At a very small Catholic school.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So really then it was just...
mostly just listening to singers and trying to match them.
Anybody specifically?
Ooh. I really liked Amy Winehouse for a while. I liked Amy Winehouse and the singer of Evanescence, Amy Lee, I think is her name. Yeah. So I liked her vocals just because I like female fronted things that are just, so I really like In This Moment right now. Gosh, really like In This Moment. And Dorothy, the band Dorothy.
I haven't heard of them. I'll have to.
They're so good. They're so good.
I'll have to check them out. Yeah. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I've probably heard their stuff.
Most likely, because she has a really cool grungy thing. They probably used it in commercials and stuff.
Have you heard, they were around really in the 90s. They're still around, but Garbage?
Yeah.
I love Garbage.
Yes.
What's her name again?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember. But I did love being able to say that I love Garbage.
So on point as a female front.
Absolutely.
Just works the hell out of it. And Butch Vig, believe it or not, plays drums and was like one of the co-founders of that group. And he produced Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and really got them on a just well-known, basis. But it's just great band.
Oh, yeah.
Great sound, and she's just got it.
There. Yeah.
So I know what you mean, like, oh yeah, like girl power on that. The Freak Show LA.
Yes.
It is time to get freaky.
Time to get freaky.
So talk to me about this, because I am not really well versed in this area per se of the art. I want to get into why this is a thing.
Yes.
The emotional impact on it.
Yes.
Besides squirming. And I just want to I am curious, and I am open. I want to know what's going on here.
Okay. We have an almost new believer. Fantastic. I love it. And the Church of Freaks. Amen. And Squirmalooya. So freak shows, I believe they started somewhere in the 1920s, 1930s, where they'd have people like the woman with the long beard and the world's smallest person that can fit in a jar. And then
do the 10-foot long nails fall in that category?
I think they still do. Now they kind of just go in the Guinness Book of World Records.
That's like a thing where I'm going, okay.
Yeah, like we're the
you
thumbnail
live?
that just curls. Like, why don't the other ones really do that? The other ones kind of twist, but the thumbnail always just has this curl that I'm just unhappy with.
I don't even know how to comment. It's like I don't understand. Yeah. So
that started, and they died out because of people were being abused and taken away from their homes, and it became this whole circus thing. And then it kind of died out for a little bit whenever the wars were happening. People were like, peace and love. Let's go do drugs. Cool, great. So then everything they saw was freaky. They didn't need the freak show performers anymore. And then for some reason they strongly came back, and I think it's just because I don't know. I feel like sometimes centuries tend to repeat. So now it's almost 2020 and freak shows are coming back again in full force. How cool is that, right? It freaked me out when I first heard it.
It freaks you out that the freak is coming back.
Out. Yeah, that's another great thing. So I do all of these things and I'm afraid. So like I hammer a nail in my face. That's the human blockhead. And so I do that and I'm afraid to get.
That's the human blockhead.
Yes. And even though I do that, I'm afraid to get shots, like a flu shot.
Now you because when we were setting up, you said I have my hammer and nail in the car, and I didn't hear you say that. I don't know what I heard you say. Like I thought you asked me a question, and like no, I have a hammer and nail in my car.
Yeah.
Can we show this on camera?
Yes, yeah. So that's what freak shows are now. Now freak shows in the modern times, they're really kind of two dividing branches, where one is where people walk on, or like they have the bed of nails where they can lay on the bed of nails, eating fire, contortioning, human blockhead. Some people swallow swords. And then there's other ones that are really in New York and they're underground, where they're kind of like dark fetishy freak shows where people make themselves bleed with needles and hang from hooks and stuff. But I don't do that one. I do the more entertaining, like ta-da.
Right.
But they're all stunts, and people are actually laying on the bed of nails. People are actually swallowing real swords, and people are actually hammering nails in their face. Like that. So some people, my friend Lacey, I'll just talk with it in my nose for a little bit. My friend Lacey, she can get a medical tube and put it in her nose and out of her mouth and have people drink through her face. And she calls it the human brain freeze.
What in the world just...
I'll just put this in my purse tonight. So I have 3 degrees, and my parents are really proud of what I do.
So that's going to be the promo clip right there for this episode.
And I'm still working on my lower body, but with upper body, I do mostly with contortioning because I can walk around and show large stages with me flipping my arms over my head and hugging my head. But that started with me trying to freak out my sister when I was younger. So like I'd go in for a handshake and then be like, whoop-ah! And just completely bend my hand. I have hyperextension. Yeah, that wasn't.
We're gonna have to back up for a second. And can we get an explanation as to what just happened physically and how you found out that was something that was possible with your human body?
My friend Rusty showed me that one. Rusty is my burlesque stage wife, and she's taught me most of the stunts that I do, and we just collaborate and work together.
Right.
But we performed for some ballet. We were working the intermission, and we would do little freak shows on the side. And she's the one that was able to do that. And she had these little tiny plastic swords, and she's like, how many can I put in my nose? And she just kept putting them back in her face. And I was like, what are you doing? That looks painful. It's just a nasal cavity. It's just training yourself not to tear up.
So you're going up the nasal cavity then? Or is it... I don't...
I go straight back. So yeah, Rusty showed me how to do that, and she just taught me. She's like, just practice with a Q-tip first. Always practice with a Q-tip first. Don't just think nail, because there's two holes, and one of them is definitely wrong, and one of them is kind of okay. But
that's what she said. Wow. I guess it depends.
We'll let you decide which hole is which.
I guess it depends on the person. Anyway, so moving on. Secret Circus of Los Angeles has a segue there. Anyway.
Perfect.
So it's similar. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube, and it was pretty wild. The contortion and all. So it started as trying to freak your sister out.
Yeah.
Then it turned into, this is entertainment. Like, this is an actual vein of show business.
Yes. And then the segue from freaking my sister out to getting paid and traveling and people going, ew, that's gross, was the North Carolina State Fair. I sold kettle corn, and I said, for $5 I can freak you out. And they were like, what? Okay, I just came here for food. And then I'd do it, and they're like, oh my God, here. So that's, just take my money. And I was like, yes, making bank.
State Fair, there's a lot of interesting events.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And they at the State Fair too, like they kept trying to keep the freak show alive, but it was a freak show for a state fair. So I went in because I was like really truly intrigued while I worked there. And there was the girl, it was like the half human, half snake. There was a girl in there with her headphones in and a snake costume around her head. She was wearing sunglasses over it, and she was chewing gum. And all I remember is just looking at her and being like, wow, that is entertainment. That is truly entertainment. But also, why did I pay money to see this? But her attitude made it worth it, where she's just like, I don't want to be here. And I was like, honey, me either. Honey, me either.
What's your favorite food at the North Carolina State Fair?
Oh my gosh. Man, I've never been asked that. The one year that I worked was whenever they had the Krispy Kreme challenge thing. Where they had the donut burger. Yeah, where it was the two donuts and there was a hamburger in it. I took a bite of it and I was like, ooh, this is what diabetes tastes like. Like, this is a heart attack waiting to happen.
Right,
and you just watch people throwing them back. And I was like, wow, that's nuts. But I like funnel cake.
Funnel cake.
Sorry, I just wanted to bring that up because I remembered that donut thing.
It's like powdered sugar. It's diabetes on a plate, you know?
Yes.
It's funny because my favorite food there is the squared ice cream. You ever have that?
No.
It's literally square ice cream on a square cone.
What?
Yeah. Next time you're there, I've been to the State Fair in years, but the last time and the times previously, they had square vanilla ice cream.
I'm gonna have to try it.
Get sprinkles on it.
Next month.
It's coming up soon.
Yes. Yeah.
Coming up soon. Well, you have to do an ASMR booth.
ASMR of the State Fair. Oh my God.
Get somebody's ear right up to that roller coaster rail.
The sound of disgruntled teenagers. Man, I don't want to be here, man.
Yeah, right.
Go behind back smoke a little bit.
So modeling,
So I pose.
I have some stuff in modeling in the shootout, but
Yeah.
I have like two main other questions here, and they're like they have nothing to do with each other. But we'll start with modeling.
Great.
One of them was an afterthought, which we'll bring up after this. But so you model.
Yes.
Great work too, by the way.
Thank you.
Multifaceted. I enjoy the Instagram posts when they show up on the feed.
Yes.
Very cool. Again, it's your visual is very similar to your audible. So like when I listen to the music, your visual art and modeling and just presence is similar to that.
Yes.
Is that on purpose? And if so, or if not, just kind of your thoughts behind a picture and capturing
Absolutely.
something that's still comparatively to a moving picture, which, is obviously a different animal.
Absolutely. Moment in time that's captured. So I like photography, and I like working with multiple photographers from different backgrounds and different aspects and viewpoints.
Sure.
Like some photographers, I think maybe about 98% of the photographers that reach out to me, they say, what do you want to do that you haven't shot yet? So then I get to be the creative force behind what I'm wearing and what makeup I do and what hair I do. And then they're just the ones that pick the background. And then and then they take the photos, they do a fantastic job of editing, they send it back, and we just make this really cool collaboration. It's just another way that I get to just de-stress.
Right.
I get to just have this other media platform to express myself and show people who I am and little tiny aspects of me without them ever really getting to ask why.
Favorite shoot at this point in your career?
Favorite shoot. So I did the cover of Wilma magazine, which is the women's magazine of Wilmington.
Oh, cool.
And we shot in this super hippie cabin in the middle of nowhere. This dude, Alan Walker, that's his name. So Alan, he built this property and he had the whole vision, and he did it for under, I think, $10,000. And people come out and they go to Walker World. That's the name of the retreat. It's because it has this beautiful pond in the background, and he's so welcoming. And I show up, and he lives this life that just I would never be able to do as a female, where people they just stay at his house. They show up, they have dinner together with random strangers. They'll leave, they'll stay for weeks, they'll stay for months, they'll stay for a day, and they'll just disappear. And
real servant's heart.
Super just anyone can stay. Like I could drive there today and be like, Alan, I'm staying here for a few weeks. He'd be like, yeah, no problem.
Hospitality.
Yeah. Super, super chill guy.
That's
But
cool.
it was a fun shoot, and he has a really cool place. So I love that shoot. Yeah.
That's awesome. The last bullet point here, I guess, would be I put, after we were talking about your film,
Yes.
faith, question mark, because there's a lot going on there, and I have my own viewpoints, and I have my own story, and everybody's got their own story, as far as natural and supernatural and all of that. If you feel comfortable sharing just where you stand with that, because it sounds like your dad has a certain background, you have a certain background yourself.
Yeah.
Any interest in communicating that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know people think sometimes whenever they hear my viewpoints on religion that I'm nuts. That I'm just, they're like, wow, okay. But I mean, some people believe in a flying spaghetti monster, and that's cool too.
Yeah.
That's the point of Interitum, is that I think that whatever you believe is what happens. So if you believe that nothing is going to happen, well, then nothing will happen. If you think that you're going to go to heaven and hang out with old relatives that were in there, because like my mom told me, I think it was my mom that told me this, that she said that whenever someone dies, that they die and they are sent to heaven in their favorite age. Like they don't die at 97 and they stay 97, because it's really pretty too to think about that. Like whenever my grandmother passed away, maybe she went back to before she had kids And she still has a memory of her kids, but she still has that youth where she was able to move before she had a car accident and she wore braces on her legs. So I think maybe she went back before that time.
Right.
And it's like whatever you believe, I think that's what happened. That's what happens. And it's just because of the religious background that I came from, where I was baptized Methodist. I went to Catholic school for 14 years. And then at 18, I was told, you're Jewish. And I was like, what? I was like, neat. Okay. So I'm of Jewish descent. But
wow.
So it's just like, hey, you know what you were just taught for the past 18 years about Jesus? Like, he was a nice man. And I'm just like,
but you're Jewish.
And I'm like, wait, hold on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That had to have been an interesting, not to be redundant, but I mean, it had to be an interesting time then, you know?
It was very strange. And I mean,
so that's really how that
yeah,
shaped for you then.
Absolutely.
Where you are now.
And and because of the Catholic school and Christianity, it made me question a lot of things about religion. And I'm really thankful for that experience. For example, we had this one religion class where the teacher, she was like super like straight edge. Like if you said heck, that was whoa.
Yeah.
But someone asked her, they're like, well, what do you think about, so how do you get saved? Baptism. Well, what about people that aren't baptized and they're still good people? Do they just get rejected? And she didn't really have an answer for that. And I was like, well, that's the thing. And that's why I really harped on Interitum that they didn't show truly where the first girl went because she killed herself. Because I think that maybe she thought that she was a good person and she was suffering. So then she gets to go to heaven. But that's kind of up to whatever the viewer wants to think where she goes.
Right.
And in the last one, it's not even a religion. The girl had it explained because her mother had passed away that people become stars. So she becomes a star. Mm-hmm. Like that's, I truly think whatever you think is what will happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting on faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the religion thing, I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Can't deal with it.
Okay.
It's because for me personally, like my faith, I was raised Christian and still am.
Yeah.
But it's just a total relationship, for me. And that's the whole thing about it. It's like whenever man gets involved, I feel whenever there's supernatural happenings and whenever man gets involved, it just gets messed up. You know what I mean? So there's something, I think it's undeniable that there is something that is obviously far greater than our experiences and the corporeal nature of who we are as human beings. And from a Plato standpoint too, I believe it was Plato that put this forth. Themes and a lot is it's idealistic. It's not, you can't call something, you can't define something without it first being an idea.
Yeah. I mean, even in science, they have a thing called the God particle because they can't explain it.
Right.
Yeah. So, right. I mean, there truly has to be something. Like my mom, she told me that she has a deeper connection with religion and with the afterlife and stuff like that, and with just spirituality. For whenever she was a girl, her grandmother passed away, and her grandmother really loved, I think it was birds. And the day that she passed away, there was a bird that sat in the window and it had this light around it. And my mom knew that her grandmother was okay. And it's really strange, but we have it's just something about that we have this weird connection to. Like, I think I was 12 years old and I had this dream about being in my mom's car, and my mom was driving, and then there was this white horse trailer, and it slammed on the brakes, and then it goes black, and then you just saw a horse head through the windshield. And I was like, oh, that was a terrible dream. A few weeks later, we're going to Thomasville, and she gets behind a horse trailer. And I was like, I don't feel right about this. So I told her to get over to the next lane. They lost a wheel and they slammed on the brakes. And I was like, that's a little too coincidental for me just to go, nah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I told her about it. I was like, I had a dream about that. And she was like, well, it's kind of in our family. And I was like, cool. Great.
Yeah. It's, it does not surprise me at all. Mm-hmm. Does not surprise me at all. And that's the thing is religion, will disallow that type of activity or dismiss it.
Yeah.
Whereas spirituality, that's what it is in essence, because we're talking about the spirit realm.
Yeah.
You know,
because I've explained that to a couple of my atheistic and agnostic friends, and they're just like, well, like maybe it was like deja vu or like.
But what is deja vu? What is that?
Exactly.
Because I've had that my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's stupid scary because you have stuff that's years of gap.
Like I met my ex-fiance before I even met him. Like people don't, whenever I try to explain that to some people, they're like, that doesn't make sense. Maybe you just recently had a dream about it. And I'm like, no, like I was in high school and I had never seen him before at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
strange.
I'm right there with you as far as, believing in way more than what is going on here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah. But again, I accept all walks of life. And if someone's like, when you die, you die. I'm like, cool. Awesome.
Well, what else are you going to do? I mean, because people kill each other over this.
Absolutely. That's why I just go,
it's just,
awesome.
It's unbelievable. I mean, look, my truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth.
That's right.
Joe Blow's truth is Joe Blow's truth.
Yeah, Joe Blow.
Yeah, Joe Blow.
You go, Joe Blow.
You go, Blow. You go, Joe.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. So let's go. Let's get to the shootout real quick.
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna say shoot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just a word or a phrase, and you kind of elaborate a little bit, right off the cuff.
Cool.
Cameras.
Acting, of course.
Yeah. Any favorite type or just?
I got to hold an Ari camera once, and not just because it sounds like my nickname is Ari, but it's ARRI. But they're really heavy cameras.
Oh, they're great.
They're used for major motion pictures, and I shot a commercial on one of them.
Alexa?
Yes, an Ari Alexa.
Yep.
And they asked me to hold it in between takes, and I held it, and I was like, I am holding like $30,000 right now.
I thought they were like 100.
No, those things are expensive as mess.
No, I mean like $100,000, I thought.
Oh, there's the cheaper, like the smaller ones.
Okay, they start at like 30.
Start at 30.
Okay.
Before you add the accessories, like before the lenses.
Right.
Before.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I was just like, I am holding something that costs more than my car and my university combined. I was like, no.
No, they're great. We shot. I shot a couple of things. Well, they weren't my projects, but I was on Ari's a few times last year. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're great.
They're so clean, like those and the red cameras. And
we shot the recent Cross video on Red, and
nice
came out. I mean,
beautiful video.
Red's got this. I saw a film done on Red one time, and I wasn't really happy with the color grade.
Yeah.
But then I realized that it was whatever post-production was done on it, because when I was working with my cinematographer on that, the communication was there. I said what I wanted, and it was like, this is unbelievable. You could change the ISO later.
Yeah.
You can do like all these. It was like, what the heck,
wait a minute,
man?
what?
This is nuts.
Yeah.
So it's very clean, very. The color grade on Red is really interesting. It's just it's a little bit darker. It's kind of like Black Magic, but it's just higher fidelity.
Yeah. And I really like Black Magics too.
Black Magics are great.
I think they're the more affordable, but
But they look great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're still super expensive.
Yeah. Portrait, as in portrait framing.
Oh, I think of, I don't know why.
Or
I just
lenses,
thought of John Chandler.
Okay.
Because he's a portrait photographer, but in his studio, he has a bunch of what looks like, because they're actually pictures, but he made them look like oil paintings, and they're just portraits of people all around the studio. And he's such a nice guy too.
That's cool.
He used to shoot for, I think, National Geographic. He did the underwater photography of the coral reefs and stuff for about
that stuff is always just
30 years.
Mind-boggling what they're able to capture out there.
He's so nice. He's so nice. Ugh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Landscape framing, or lens choices, whatever.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know. I keep thinking of like locations.
Yeah. Oh, but that could be your answer right there. It has so much to do with it.
Truly, I think about just Like for one landscape, I'm thinking about this racetrack that I shot on, but it wasn't actually a racetrack. It was an airport that we shot somewhere in California for a film, and it was just really cool watching, because we got to watch a little bit of the playbacks, and it was really cool just to watch the whole take of the whole property and see how small everyone looks and how realistic it looked too.
Right.
Yeah.
In music, distortion.
I think of, what's that guy's name? He did the song Mercury and Nihilist. Ghostmane.
Haven't heard of him.
Oh man, he's this.
You're gonna have to send me that.
So Ghostmane, if I can describe what that is just this guy who's low distorted music, and it's really dark, and it's kind of like metal rap, maybe like screamo, kind of like edgy, like I'm so angry at everything, and it's just really nice to listen to it and just be like, yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's like that Peter Griffin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what episode that is, but
that's whenever he's writing the never-ending story monster thing. He's like, "Oh, you're a little too heavy." Yeah, it was going down. And they crash. Yeah.
Black and white.
I'm thinking of film noir.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what throws me back to Casablanca and the classic films.
Emotionally, black and white. Any words that come to mind? It's hard to describe.
Women are always just so sad. Why are women always so sad in those films? They're always just like, "But darling, no, I don't want you to leave." And you're just like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, well, there's like really no. I can't think of any, but there might be somewhere. Just film noirs of just women being like, "I'm here to live."
Right.
It's mostly about a man that's like, "Darling, darling, I can't do this anymore." And she's like, but Charles, I need you in my life forever. It's always about like the side profile and like the woman with the really thin eyebrows. I can't think of her name, where they always look like they're pouting and sad.
Right.
That's what I think of with film noirs.
Yeah. Drama.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, yes. Yes. Half measures. Half measures and bathtubs falling through ceilings and
an angry bald man who has a sickness.
Oh my God.
And then gets cured, and he's like, well, I'm still gonna make drugs.
What a series though.
Really good.
What a series.
I love how it ended. Like, some people got a little upset about it, but I was just like, I don't care. This was great.
What a series.
Acting was great. Casting was great.
Shot on film.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you know that one of his monologues got destroyed because every day after filming, they would put the film and the reels on a plane and fly, because they were obviously shooting in New Mexico, but they would put the materials on a plane, fly it out to LA.
Yeah.
And one time the film got destroyed for that day, and it's in Bryan Cranston's book.
I had no idea.
Can't remember the name of it. I have it somewhere in the studio in the house.
Yeah.
Autobiography, and he talked about how it was literally the greatest take he's ever done.
And then it got destroyed.
And it was destroyed. And they had to do it again. And it worked, obviously, but he's still heartbroken to this day that.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And that was
I can, but I can't.
And think about it. 5 seasons, of course, the one day.
The one day where you're like, this is perfect.
And gone.
Poof. And that is, so when people ask me, they're like, I want to be an actor. What do you recommend? And I say, don't. I always say don't. Like, I tried not to be an actor. I did. I truly did. But I still fight it.
You know that it's just destiny.
It's who I am. It's who I'm supposed to be.
Who you are.
Yeah.
You know,
like
for me to you talk, like it's, you know, it's the same thing for me. It's,
yeah,
you can't,
of course. You just see someone and you're like, you are an actor. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so I asked them, I'm like, well, why do you want to be an actor? Fame, fortune, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. acting is 99% heartbreak and then 1% recognition. That's all that it is just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak of, no, you didn't get cast. You didn't get the role that you wanted. Oh, now you have to travel and lose money and do all this, and you have to put in so much work and so much time. And then you put yourself into these characters and into these films, and you show them to the world for people to go, I mean, it was okay. It's just constant heartbreak. So I'm like, if you really hate yourself, be an actor. And I do. I have a love-hate relationship with me.
I think any artist can relate. I was listening to a podcast with Robert Greene with The Art of Seduction, and great. Just I mean, that book sounds a little twisted. It's not. It's got an edgy title just because of the nature of it, and it's got that pop. But it just talks about human nature. Yeah. You know, and it covers a lot of topics, and that was one of the things that they talked about was a true artist a true creative is never happy. True. I can totally agree to that. Like, and there's a reason why my hair is red, you know? Like, I punished myself through my blue hair at one point? I did have blue hair at one point. Last year or 2 years ago? Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah. One of these days, I may do that because blue's my favorite color. Yes. So bleaching bleaching is terrible because you have to get it close to white to get it blue. But man, oh man. But back to the 99% heartbreak. So with all that, what makes it worth it as a performer is that 1%. Yes. Is the one of just whenever someone does recognize, like, that was really pretty, that was beautifully done, I related to that. Like, I keep bringing up Interitum, but it's just like the recent thing that I did. And I made it for my mom, who had decided she didn't want heart surgery. She was ready to die. She was telling me, like, okay, well, I don't want to live anymore. Here's where I want to have my ashes scattered. Like, it's not worth it going through the surgery. What's the point of living? So I made that, and she decided to get the surgery. And she's... Wow. Yeah. So it's that 1%. It's the impact. It's the why you do it. Because if you're doing it for fame, you're going to be miserable. Yes. Money, miserable. Yes. You got to be miserable. Yes. If you do it for one person and they accept it, worth it. Well said. Thank you. So comedy. Yes. After all of that darkness, here's some comedy. Comedy shootout. What first thing that comes to mind? Oh, just with the word comedy. Comedy. That's it. Man. Yeah. Timing. Perfect. Perfect. Pose in as far as in aesthetic, like posing. Vogue. Candid. At first I thought you said candy and I got really excited. I have plenty. Love candy. Have you heard of a company called Sweetwater? Yes. So Sweetwater, I get gear from them from time to time, and Sweet. Every time, yeah. No, pun intended. Every time a box comes in, there's a bag of candy in the box. That's so cool. Now, I don't know if that's just because the word sweet is in their name or if it's just a little thing. I have a lot of candy that just accumulates because I buy gear all the time. So it's like, you know, there's candy in there. So, but candid. So candid. Yes. Candid candy. Candid camera candy. I'd say, Candid. Like, I do love candid photos. I hate candid photos during photo shoots because people then try to make me smile. So it's not really candid at that point. Right. But also, I have a really annoying smile whenever I truly am smiling because it's like 30% gum. And you're like, yeah. I'm just like, ew. So that's why I go, ugh. Like, ugh, I don't like seeing that. I think, for me personally, candids are exceptional. I mean, like, it's just you're capturing what's there. Oh, you know what I mean? I mean, I love seeing candid photos of myself with people. I don't like seeing candid photos of just me. I think there's a few where I've gone, oh, but most of the time it's just, I could see where, that's probably the same. Because I mean, things are just different when you're interacting. The expressions. Yes. Yeah. Like wedding photos and
photos that friends take whenever you're walking downtown. I love those photos of actual realness. Yeah, I like that.
Realness.
So with Candid, I have to say, for me and realness for everyone else.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Lighting.
Important.
Hell yes.
If I can just say the importance of lighting. In most of the projects that I've done, everyone always says, I wish the lighting was different. I'm just like, that's true. Like, I do too. But lighting's important. Sound's important.
Dead Day with Crime was interesting because it was just so blue.
Predominantly blue. Like, it wasn't... Yeah, it was just a lot of blue.
And I'm a blue guy. Like, I love blue. Like, I love blue, you know. My company's name is Blue in it. So it's just...
I think even Jaden said, he's like, after I edited it, he's like, I'm so tired of seeing blue.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I mean, it's a cool look.
Favorite film?
Like a film that I could watch time and time again.
Or just once and it's so good you don't even want to watch it again.
Ooh. Wow.
We draw you out on this. I'm telling you, man. We throw some zingers at you.
Oh my God, there's a couple zingers. So a film that I truly appreciate, and it takes me a couple years to have to be able to rewatch it again, is The Truman Show.
Okay.
Because it's Jim Carrey doing both drama and comedy flawlessly.
Right.
And it's a great story with a great concept, and I don't think it had been done before that, of someone living in a simulation, where I'm sure that they have like Twilight Zone simulations and stuff like that, but actually making a movie and
I'm
showing...
gonna have to see that.
The Truman Show?
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorites. A film that I could watch again and again and again, Birdcage, with
Robin Williams
and
yeah.
Nathan
Yeah.
Lane. Like, them together as
That's
a gay
an
couple
insane,
is just...
That's an
perfect.
insane opening where... Because that was done in the 90s, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think 80s, 90s.
It's obviously a helicopter shot dollying in, air dolly, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
And then we watched that like a year ago, and I had to rewind like 20 times to figure out where... It was just brilliant the way that they were able to fuse...
Oh, yeah.
That helicoptering in to... Okay, now we're on... I don't know how they did that, because it was like you're helicoptering in over the ocean, then there's over the street, then it goes into the venue, and it's all seamless.
Absolutely.
In the 90s.
In the 90s, before drone shots were a thing, where people were like, oh, just go rent a drone for the day.
Right.
Which, ugh.
So it was... That's what really sticks out to me, is just the opening of that.
It's
It was
just well
unbelievable.
done. It has a great message. It's comedic, but it has really true moments that are still powerful to this day.
What a talent, though. I mean, I still can't believe he's gone.
Oh yeah. I completely... It's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking whenever you see such a talent.
And what
leave.
The irony of one of the greatest comedic talents of all time. I mean, dramatic too. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, such a diverse talent. I think he was kicked out of schools too. Like, I think he was kicked out of one of the top schools for acting because he was just Robin Williams, and people were like, we don't know what to do with this, and he's like, let me show you, and he did it. I was just like, yes.
Well, who would know the Achilles heel and almost like the intrinsic nature of his genius was what would ultimately be his demise. Like,
oh yeah.
It's still just it's just unbelievable.
Like I said, being a performer is just 99% heartbreak.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
well, I'm glad that he had some amazing 1% while he was here.
Exactly. And he left behind such
a legacy.
Yeah, like such great works that you just, like, you watch a movie, Robin Williams is in it, you were like, yes, I will sit down and watch it. He did one film that was about, I can't remember it. It's like Best Dad, World's Best Dad, something like that. That was released in 2012.
I've seen that.
With the son and the school, and he's a teacher, and getting like that. Oh my gosh. I remember watching that.
That's a crazy film.
And after it happens within the first 20 minutes for people that haven't seen it. I'm not going to ruin it.
Right.
That whenever it happens, you're just like, okay, whatever. And then it happens. You're like, what did I just see? And then you just watch his heartbreak, and you can feel it. And that is what being a performer is about.
Yes.
So later
100%.
on in life, role models.
Unadulterated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
in that, and great segue for the last bullet point on the shootout, cry scenes.
Cry scenes. Oh, for me or for watching?
Both.
So they make or break. That's going to be my summary for both, make or break. With cry scenes, I have mixed feelings about people that say they can cry on command, because it's like, well, are you actually feeling it? Because I'm sure that you can get them to cry at some point, but if you watch.
Can't. I mean, I have my processes that I have to do.
Yes.
To get there, but there's definitely a placement the lines and dots have to connect.
Like, I think it's a talent if you can cry on command, but can you make someone feel it? That's my next thing. So it's like, that's cool, great, but I can also, if I put the nail in the wrong hole, I can make myself cry on command too. Like, just give me like 3 seconds. But it's exhausting doing crying scenes.
Yeah.
But if if you're connected, if you have a good partner to play off of, then worth it. And it's really refreshing to do.
It's cathartic to a certain extent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then watching crying scenes. There's a lot of crying scenes that I've seen that have pulled me out of a film entirely because they're so bad.
Right.
Like someone's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sad." And I'm like, yes. I was half buying it until now.
You sound like what's the character in Friends who harasses what's his name?
So, fun fact. I have seen now 2 episodes of Friends. And Kelly showed me the first one, and then I watched one on my own, and I was like, "Man, I got to get back into this."
The Chandler is the guys.
Gotcha.
I got a friend of mine who's actually at UNCW right now, evacuating from Dorian, but he's like a huge Friends fanatic, and he does this the ex-girlfriend of Chandler.
Yeah.
Chandler being like that nasal thing, and it sounds almost identical to what you just personified.
Yeah. I just had to tell on myself for a second.
We're gonna have to YouTube that before you leave. Like whatever her name is. I can't remember the name of the character. Somebody's gonna give me crap for that out there. Like, you can't remember her name.
I'll get more of it. I've only seen 2 episodes.
Yeah. Last major question, which is the one that I told you we spring on everybody.
Which I've already forgotten.
What would you tell if you could go back in time? What would you tell your 15-year-old self with what you know now?
Wow. Don't put up with bullshit. That is exactly what I'd tell myself. Because for the longest time, I was a people pleaser. I would make sure that everyone was happy. That's kind of where I'm thankful for it. Like, I wouldn't have, I don't think, as much comedic timing as I do now if I didn't have the background that I did have. But yeah, like, I would have gotten out of my past relationships sooner. I wouldn't have dealt with some of the people that I called friends whenever I was growing up. Yeah. I wouldn't have allowed people to just walk all over me. I'd be like, hey, fuck them. That's my advice for most people, is just, yeah. Also swear more. Because I was afraid of swearing, but man, it's a great tension reliever. And also,
they talk about tension release, and like, it's a sign of intelligence to some degree.
Yes, I've been trying so hard to limit myself this entire time, and so far I've messed up.
Believe me, it has been, ever since middle school. It has just been this constant thing that I've tried to wrangle, only because, for me, it's just like, you never know who you're talking to.
True.
And
some people might associate certain words with certain things and have strong feelings, strong beliefs.
Yeah. But listen, they're just, at the end of the day, I mean, words definitely have, of course, words have power.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I do come from that school of thought where it's the heartedness and the meaning behind it.
Absolutely.
So I like that. I like that advice.
Yeah.
That's cool. This has been a fantastic hour of cameras shutting off and freaking batteries going dead and me forgetting to delete
and then my
Nick Driver's like
little ASMR segments in between.
Yeah.
So that'll be a
which
nice
I have the privilege of looking forward to when I'm editing. And
welcome.
let me ask you this real quick. One more question. Future plans as far as what's going on? Where are we looking?
Yes. So within the next few months, I'm going to be working on 3 different horror films. One of them is going to be submitted hopefully to a larger investor that they're going to send out.
Great.
One of them, I'm acting with a bunch of people that I don't know how I got into this film. It's called Killer Babes and the Frightening Fiasco. And I kind of just submitted. I was like, oh, whatever. It's just another like indie thing. Yeah. And he has these big name people of horror coming in to do this film. Wow. And then I'm with them and I'm like, why?
Wow. Cool.
Why am I here? Like, how did you find me?
Well, you see something. Apparently.
Yes. So that one is that. And then Pain is shooting. That's one of the recent horror films. I think it's shooting next weekend. It was supposed to be this weekend, but hurricanes. Ruining our plans. Like, thanks. But yeah, so that one, I get to be the comedic relief of a horror film, which I don't think I've really ever gotten to do. So
I think you're going to do well on that.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I really think you do well on it.
So excited for that one. And I'm signing with an agency hopefully next week.
Cool.
So yeah,
cool.
Get some more work and get more paid work. And
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Social media description box, we will provide that with everybody.
I think everything that I have, because no one else has my name, is just at Arianna Tysinger. Then there's ariannatysinger.com. Yeah.
Whole lot.
Yeah, just a whole lot.
Whole lot of AT.
All that AT.
All that AT.
AT, baby.
All that AT on the AL.
One of my old friends used to call me Sweet Baby T.
I love it. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thanks for making the drive out.
You again. Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll be working together soon on something.
Heck yeah.
We gotta do something.
Absolutely.
You know.
I don't know why I whispered that. Heck yeah.
You're in. I get it. The.
Okay, I'm out.
Are you sure?
No.
Exactly. This has been great. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.